YouTube? Welcome to my channel, my first video. I'm just going to be kind of giving an introduction to myself, to my history with bodybuilding, diet, training, and a bit of a taboo topic for some, but anabolic steroids. Yeah, I'll just get started because I don't want this video to be too long. It's just going to be me talking, and I feel like that is probably one of the least entertaining things I can think of. Anyways, my name is Connor. I'm 24 years old. I'm a men's physique competitor for now. If I can put on the size to do classic one day, I might. But yeah, for now that it is what it is. So, I started training, working out in high school, probably early high school, off and on. Never really took it that seriously, but it was around grade 12, near the end of grade 12, grade 13, where I was watching the Mr. Olympia with my dad. It was a live stream, so I don't really know where to put this. Yeah, I'm recording this on an iPhone 7 because I went out and bought a camera, a tripod, pretty much everything I needed, and then it turns out my computer is not good enough to run any video editing software. Not even cheap free ones, you know, it was freezing up, it could not handle it. So I'm gonna have to get a new laptop at some point. Grade 12 going into grade 13, I saw the Mr. Olympia. It was the first year that the men's physique division was being included, and I saw that and I immediately kind of just wanted to do it. I was like, I can do that. But I understood that the sport is not natural. I knew that even men's physique, even though they're smaller than bodybuilders, I'm going to have to take something at some point. And some point I wanted was to be sooner than later. So I did all my research. I understood that taking anything was going to shut down my natural test. But, you know, I was a stupid kid. I knew everything I needed to know, but I listened to this one older guy that I got some, what he said was Superdrol, just a pill. I got these pills from him, and I took them for 4 or 6 weeks, whatever it was. He said I would not need to inject testosterone as a base. He said I would not need any post-cycle therapy. He said I'd be fine. Take the pills, stop the pills, move on with your life. So I did that. I listened to him, almost kind of knowing I shouldn't have listened to him. And I don't know what he gave me, whether it was Superdrol, it could have been Dianabol. But it didn't take long after stopping those for me to start putting on body fat, losing muscle. You know, I started getting very depressed. And this lasted a good year. I developed a pretty big lump under my right nipple, gynecomastia. I had to get that surgically removed. And, you know, that was another thing that just kind of compounded onto the depression. And that all took about a year, maybe even more, for that to kind of clear up, and I guess for my body to regulate itself and for my hormones to kind of get back into a normal range. And yeah, it was not fun. So if anyone out there is young, looking to use anabolic steroids, first of all, I don't use them for any other reason aside from the fact that I won't be able to compete at the pro level in the sport that I love without them. If I was just a hockey player or just liked to work out to look fit, I would not be using these things. You know, you can do a lot naturally. You can make incredible transformations just with consistent diet and training and some proper guidance. It's not necessary. Steroids are not necessary by any means. And this is just kind of a disclaimer. I'm not advocating for the use of anabolics. I'm not saying you should or shouldn't use them. I'm not a doctor. I don't have a degree in anything medical-wise. You know, I'm just someone who has used them, who is using them, who has experience, who has learned through experience, and I'm just sharing with you my personal experience with them. You know, things that I've learned I really should not have done, things I've maybe learned that work or don't work. But again, I'm not saying to use them. I'm not telling you how to use them, because at the end of the day, everybody is different. And if you are going to, I highly suggest you get a very knowledgeable coach, which they are hard to find, but they're out there. They're not necessarily cheap, but it is your health that you're putting on the line. So I do highly suggest that you don't mess around with these things without having guidance from someone who really knows what they're doing. So like I was saying, I did all that, messed up my body, probably set myself back a couple years, and then finally started to feel good. I got with a coach. We bulked me up a little bit, and then I started prepping and did my first men's physique show. I did this one naturally. That was very tiny. I got on stage at about 145 pounds, I think. I'll see if I can post a transformation on the screen here. But I loved it. You know, the whole process, the whole lifestyle, everything. I knew after that show that I did want to do this long term. So it was after that first show, which I recommend everyone does one naturally first before you make any big decisions about drugs. It was after that first show that I decided, okay, this is it. I'm going to do this properly. And I did. I got testosterone injection, and that's just how I started. I don't know if I already said this, but you should never take any anabolic steroids without testosterone as a base. Anything you take, even something as mild as Anavar, oxandrolone, is going to shut you down. It's going to suppress your testosterone levels, and you don't know how you're going to recover from that. You could be someone who bounces back in a month. You could be someone, I guess, like I was, where your estrogen gets high, your testosterone doesn't come back up to where your estrogen is, and you end up with all these side effects, possible gynecomastia, etc. It's just not worth it. You know, and you take these mild orals that don't really do that much for you anabolically, and you're not going to keep any of that because you're not going to have the testosterone level afterwards to support muscle. So like I was saying, if you are going to do anabolic steroids, if there's no change in your mind, if you're going to do it, please do it properly. Do not make the mistake I made. Make sure you do it with testosterone as a base or as the only thing you're taking. But yeah, so I did my second show on drugs. I put on about 15 pounds of stage weight, did much better. I was about 160, 165 for that one. And I loved it as well, again. So I kept going. But I came off of the drugs for a while just because I was not too sure about how I wanted to stay on or how I wanted to do that. So I just came off, did post-psychotherapy, got my natural levels back up just for kind of peace of mind, to know that I can and to know that I could. So I did that. I was off for about a year and a half. I kept training, kept eating properly. And then when I got back on, I bulked up some more and started cutting around Christmas of 2019, just passed. And I was in prep for a show on April 25th. I was going to do the Regan Grimes Classic. I'm sure most of you that are involved in the sport or follow the sport know that all these shows got canceled because of the virus that's going around. So I was about 5 weeks out when my show got canceled, which does suck, but I am unfazed mentally. Like, I'm just as happy now as I was prepping for it. You know, at the end of the day, my intention after this show was to reverse diet, put on size, come back in 2021, and possibly attempt for a pro card. I know right now I don't have the size to do that, so my end goal doesn't change. We're just starting my reverse diet sooner than we would have. And for those of you that don't know, a reverse diet is basically just the opposite of dieting down. So I was cutting weight for a long period of time, which does inevitably slow down your metabolism with your body weight. And what you want to do when you're finished a diet is not just go back to eating like normal. You have to slowly add back in calories, slowly reduce your cardio. The calories should mostly be coming from carbohydrates. You know, protein usually doesn't change whether you're cutting or bulking. Yeah, so I'm currently reverse dieting. I'm up about 6-7 pounds in a week and a half, which isn't bad. You know, I jumped up a bit initially because you're gonna put on water weight and your muscles are gonna fill back out with glycogen from the carbs, etc. So I'm not up too much, which is good, but reverse dieting's hard. You know, my cravings are through the roof. I don't have a deadline or a show that's keeping me, you know, basically just saying fuck the cravings, because the cravings are very present right now, but I'm keeping my end goal in mind. I want to stay lean going into this off season and put on as much quality muscle tissue as I can without the added fat. And I know it'll be worth it come time to prep. The less fat I can put on, the easier my prep will be. Sorry, like I said, I'm recording this on an iPhone 7, so the quality might be bad. I don't know how the audio is going to turn out. I have to hold it the whole time, so it's not, you know, it's not ideal, but I found an app called Splice on my phone that I can use to edit videos with, so I'm just gonna do that. But yeah, going forward with this channel, what I really want to be able to do is not only inspire and motivate people, but I want to be able to provide educational content in terms of training, in terms of diet. You know, I want people to be able to more or less coach themselves. You know, I'll try to get as much out there as I can to simplify things, to make it easier for you to create your own plans, for you to progress at home, even now during this whole lockdown pandemic thing. You know, you don't need a home gym, you don't need weights, you don't need dumbbells or any of that. Maybe my second video I'll go over kind of the basics of progressing without gym equipment. Yeah, and another video I really do want to do would be a calorie challenge, because like I said, my cravings are way up there. So that might be coming sooner than later. I'm going to try and reverse diet as long as I can to make sure my metabolism's back up in a good spot before I do that though. But I know I can just adjust my intake prior to the challenge and after the challenge to make sure I don't put on any fat. And I'll go over that when I do it. I'll show you guys all that. But yeah, so that's just kind of a brief introduction to me, to my channel, to what I hope to do. I'm hoping to get a new laptop somewhat soon, so hopefully I don't have to make these videos on an iPhone too much longer. I'd rather get this out there than have to wait around until I decide to buy a new laptop. You know, I looked at the Splice app and it looks okay, so I'll see how this turns out. I'll try and post a Physique a Physique video, so you guys can kind of see where I'm at now, just because it's going to be changing. You know, I'm moving through a reverse diet. I'm going to slowly be growing, and I want to explain the process of that. I want to be able to show you guys how I'm manipulating my calories, my cardio, my training, and what the reasons behind that are, and the changes that come to my physique along with that. You know, I'll get into, you know, full day of eating type videos, training. Like I said, the calorie challenge is probably the one I'm looking forward to doing the most. Like, it gets me, it excites me because I'm so hungry. But yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just going to be sitting here trying to think of what to say, so thank you for watching if you got this far. and I'm looking forward to putting out more content, and I will see you guys in the next video.
I've been feeling emotional, thinking about you,